I was picking at my Caesar salad when my phone buzzed. The message from an unknown number made my blood freeze. Don't react. They're recording you. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. Around the table, 5 coworkers leaned forward with fake smiles, their eyes too bright, too focused. So Tiana, Priscilla said, her voice dripping honey, what do you really think about the new project assignments? My throat went dry. Every question they'd asked for the past 10 minutes suddenly made sense. The way Eric positioned his phone by the breadbasket, how Chloe kept steering the conversation toward work drama, the way they all exchanged glances when they thought I wasn't looking. This wasn't lunch. This was an ambush. I forced my face to stay calm while my heart hammered against my ribs. Under the table, my free hand gripped my napkin so hard my knuckles went white. They wanted me to slip up, to say something they could use against me. The phone screen glowed with that warning, and I realized someone was trying to save me. But who? And why? The project assignments are fine, I said carefully, taking a sip of water to buy time. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Jeffrey leaned back in his chair, that smirk I'd grown to hate spreading across his face. Come on, Tiana. We're all friends here. You can be honest. Friends. Right. These were the same people who'd been freezing me out for months. The same ones who took credit for my ideas and laughed when I wasn't invited to their after-work drinks. I think management knows what they're doing, I replied, setting down my glass with trembling fingers. The disappointment on their faces was obvious. They'd expected me to vent, to complain, to give them ammunition. Instead, I was being boring, corporate Tiana. The Tiana they all dismissed. Priscilla tried again. But surely you have opinions about how things could be better? I glanced around the table. Every single one of them was watching me like hawks circling prey. The unknown texter was right. Whatever this was, it wasn't casual conversation. I'm sure we all have ideas for improvement, I said diplomatically. That's what makes a good team. More disappointed looks. Their trap wasn't working. My name is Tiana Benton, and I'm 27 years old. I work as a marketing coordinator at Pinnacle Digital, a mid-sized advertising agency downtown. For 2 years, I'd poured my heart into this job, staying late to perfect campaigns, volunteering for the projects nobody wanted, believing that hard work would speak for itself. I was wrong. 6 months ago, everything changed when our department got a new manager. Suddenly, the office dynamics shifted. Cliques formed, whispers started, and somehow, I found myself on the outside looking in, watching my colleagues become something I didn't recognize. The 5 people sitting around this lunch table had once been my teammates. We'd celebrated wins together, commiserated over difficult clients, shared takeout during late nights. Now they felt like strangers wearing familiar faces. Priscilla, the social media specialist who used to ask for my help with campaigns. Jeffrey, the graphic designer who once said my ideas were brilliant. Chloe, Eric, and Drew, all people I'd considered friends. But friends don't set up secret recordings over lunch. Friends don't plot your downfall while passing the salt. As I sat there, that anonymous text burning in my mind, I realized I was about to learn who I could really trust. The decline started subtly. First, I stopped getting invited to brainstorming sessions. Then my ideas got ignored in meetings, only to resurface later as someone else's inspiration. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago during the Morrison Industries presentation. I'd spent 2 months developing that campaign strategy. Late nights, weekend research, client calls that stretched past midnight. The presentation was flawless. Targeting, messaging, timeline, everything. The morning of the pitch, I arrived to find Jeffrey presenting my work to our manager, Hunter, claiming he'd refined my rough draft. Hunter praised Jeffrey's innovative thinking, while I stood there speechless. When I tried to speak up, Hunter cut me off. Tiana, this is exactly the kind of collaborative spirit we need more of. Supporting your teammates' ideas instead of competing. Supporting? I'd created the entire thing. That afternoon, I got called into Hunter's office. He closed the door and sat down with a concerned expression. Tiana, I've been hearing some things about attitude problems, about you not being a team player. From who? I asked. That's not important. What matters is perception. And right now, people see you as difficult to work with. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. Someone had been spreading lies about me, and Hunter was believing them. After that meeting with Hunter, the isolation became obvious. Lunch invitations stopped. People's conversations died when I walked by. My desk felt like an island in the middle of the office. The worst part was watching them thrive while I struggled. Jeffrey got promoted to senior designer. Priscilla landed the lead role on our biggest client account. Eric got assigned to the creative team I'd been hoping to join. They were climbing the ladder, using my ideas as rungs. 3 days ago, I overheard Priscilla talking to Hunter by the coffee machine. "Tiana just seems overwhelmed lately," she was saying, her voice full of fake concern. "Maybe the workload is too much?" Hunter nodded thoughtfully. "I've noticed some concerning patterns too. Missing deadlines, quality issues." I wanted to scream. I'd never missed a deadline. My work quality was better than anyone's on the team. But somehow, their lies were becoming Hunter's truth. That's when I realized they weren't just stealing credit anymore. They were actively sabotaging me. The anonymous text made perfect sense now. Someone had seen what was happening and was trying to warn me. But who? And how did they know about the recording? I looked around the table again, searching faces for any hint of guilt or sympathy. "Tiana seems quiet today," Drew observed, cutting into his sandwich. "Everything okay?" The fake concern in his voice made my stomach turn. Drew was the worst of them all. He'd been my closest friend in the office until 6 months ago. We'd started the same day, trained together, even grabbed drinks after our first successful campaign. Now he was looking at me like I was some wounded animal he was studying. "I'm fine," I said, forcing a smile, "just thinking about the Henderson project." "Oh right," Chloe jumped in. "How's that going? Hunter mentioned you seemed stressed about it." Another trap. The Henderson project was going perfectly, but they were clearly hoping I'd complain about the timeline or budget. Give them something to report back. "It's on track," I said simply. Eric leaned forward. "That's great. We were just worried because, it's such an important client. If you need any help, thanks, but I've got it handled." The frustration on their faces was getting harder to hide. Every neutral response I gave was ruining their plan. Under the table, I reread the warning text, grateful for whoever had sent it. My phone buzzed again, same unknown number. "They want you to lose your temper. Stay calm." My guardian angel was still watching. The conversation dragged on for another 20 minutes. They tried every angle, asking about my weekend plans, hoping I'd mention being lonely, my thoughts on the new office policies, fishing for complaints, even my opinion on the cafeteria food, desperately seeking any negativity they could twist. I gave them nothing. When we finally headed back to the office, I hung back and let them walk ahead. Their body language told the whole story. Hunched shoulders, quick whispers, frequent glances back at me. Their plan had failed, and they knew it. Back at my desk, I stared at my computer screen without really seeing it. My hands were still shaking from the adrenaline. In 2 hours, they'd shown me exactly how deep their betrayal ran. But they'd also shown me something else. They were scared. Scared enough to risk recording me illegally. Scared enough to coordinate an elaborate lunch ambush. Why? What were they so afraid of? My phone buzzed. Third message from my mysterious helper. "Good job staying calm. Now comes the hard part. Trust no one at work except Anna from accounting. She's safe." Anna? I barely knew her beyond polite hallway conversations. Why would she be safe? And how did this person know so much about our office dynamics? I looked around the open office space, wondering if my guardian angel was sitting somewhere among these cubicles. Anna found me by the water cooler an hour later. She was in her 50s, always dressed professionally, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. I'd exchanged maybe a dozen words with her in 2 years. "Tiana," she said quietly, glancing around to make sure we were alone. "Can we talk? Privately?" My pulse quickened. "Sure." She led me to an empty conference room and closed the door. "I sent you those texts." I stared at her. "You? How did you?" "I've been watching what's happening to you. It's not right." She sat down across from me, her expression serious. "That recording they took today? It's not the first time." My blood went cold. "What do you mean?" "They've been building a case against you for weeks. Documenting every conversation, every interaction. They're trying to prove you're a problem employee." "But why?" Anna sighed. "Because Hunter promised one of them your position once you're gone. Senior marketing coordinator with a 20% raise. They're competing to see who can take you down first. The betrayal hit me like a truck. They weren't just stealing my ideas, they were systematically destroying my career for a promotion that should have been mine. Do you have proof? I asked. Anna smiled grimly. Honey, I'm in accounting. I see every expense report, every after-hours meeting they bill as team building, every deleted email they think disappeared forever. What do? We fight back. Anna's plan was simple but brilliant. For the next 2 weeks, I would document everything while she gathered financial evidence of their scheme. Every stolen idea, every lie to Hunter, every attempt to sabotage my work, we'd track it all. They think you're weak, Anna said. Let them keep thinking that while we build our case. The next morning, I arrived early and started my research. I pulled up old emails, project files, anything that proved my contributions. The evidence was overwhelming. Dozens of campaigns I'd created that were credited to others, client relationships I'd built that were reassigned, ideas I'd pitched in team meetings that magically became someone else's brainstorm a week later. Jeffrey walked by my cubicle around 10, coffee in hand. Morning, Tiana. How's the Henderson project coming? Good, thanks, I replied, not looking up from my screen. He lingered, clearly wanting to say more. Listen, about yesterday at lunch, we're all just concerned about you. If you ever want to talk about anything, we're here. The audacity was breathtaking. They'd tried to trap me with a secret recording, and now he was offering fake support. I appreciate that, I said, giving him my best grateful smile. It's nice to know I have such caring teammates. He walked away looking frustrated. Good. Let him wonder what I was really thinking. That afternoon, I got pulled into an impromptu meeting with Hunter. My stomach dropped as I walked into his office and saw the others already seated around his conference table. Priscilla, Jeffrey, Chloe, Eric, and Drew. All of them wearing matching expressions of concern. Tiana, sit down, Hunter said, gesturing to the empty chair. I felt like I was facing a firing squad. We wanted to discuss some concerns that have come to light, he continued. Your teammates have noticed some changes in your behavior lately. Here it comes, I thought. Jeffrey cleared his throat. Tiana, we care about you, but lately you seem disconnected. Angry, even. At lunch yesterday, you were really tense, Priscilla added. We were just trying to have a normal conversation, but you seemed paranoid. Paranoid. The word hit like a slap. They were gaslighting me, making my reasonable caution sound like mental instability. I wasn't aware I seemed tense, I said calmly. See? Eric pointed at me. That right there. That defensive tone. It's like you think we're all against you or something. Hunter nodded thoughtfully. Tiana, I want you to take the rest of the day off. Think about what we've discussed. Maybe consider if this job is still a good fit for you. The message was clear. Quit, or we'll make your life hell until you do. I gathered my things in silence while my teammates watched. The whole office could see what was happening. Tiana Benton, problem employee, being sent home early. Again. But as I walked to the elevator, I caught Anna's eye. She gave me the slightest nod. Phase 1 of our plan was working. They thought they were winning. At home, I spread all my evidence across my Kit Benton table. Emails, project files, client testimonials, timestamps showing when I'd submitted ideas versus when they'd claimed them. The pattern was undeniable. My phone rang. Anna's number. How are you holding up? She asked, angry, humiliated but determined. Good, because I found something big. Hunter's been getting kickbacks from the Morrison Industries account, the one Jeffrey created using your campaign strategy. $10,000 in consulting fees that never went through proper channels. I sat up straighter. That's fraud. It gets better. Priscilla's been padding her expense reports, billing personal dinners as client meetings. And Eric? He's been using company equipment for his freelance projects. How did you find all this? Anna chuckled. Honey, I've been doing this for 30 years. You'd be amazed what people think they can hide from accounting. What's our next move? Tomorrow, you go back to work like nothing happened. Be the sweet, confused Tiana they expect. Meanwhile, I'll be putting together a very interesting presentation for upper management. Walking back into the office the next morning felt like entering enemy territory. Conversations stopped when I passed. People stared. I could feel the weight of their judgment. Hunter called me into his office first thing. Tiana, I hope you used yesterday to reflect on our conversation. I did, I said, sitting down with what I hoped looked like humble acceptance. I think I understand what you and the team were trying to tell me. His expression softened slightly. Good. That's a mature attitude. I want to do better, to be a better team player. The words tasted like ash, but I forced them out. I'm glad to hear that. Priscilla has volunteered to mentor you for the next few weeks, help you adjust your approach. Priscilla, the same person who'd been stealing my ideas and spreading lies about me. Now she was going to be my official supervisor. That sounds helpful, I managed. Excellent. She'll start by reviewing your Henderson project. Make sure it meets our new quality standards. Translation. They were going to find problems with my work, manufacture mistakes that didn't exist, build their case for firing me, but they had no idea what was coming for them. Priscilla wasted no time asserting her new authority. Within an hour of Hunter's announcement, she was at my desk with a clipboard and a condescending smile. So, Tiana, let's go through your Henderson project step by step. I want to understand your thought process. For the next 2 hours, she picked apart every decision I'd made. The color scheme was uninspired, the messaging was unclear, the timeline was unrealistic. She found fault with work that had received client approval just days earlier. I think we need to start over, she finally concluded. This just doesn't meet our standards. Start over. 3 months of work, thrown away so she could rebuild it with her name attached. If you think that's best, I said meekly. She looked surprised by my compliance. Oh, well yes, I do think it's best. Don't worry, Tiana. With my guidance, we'll get you back on track. After she left, I immediately started documenting everything she'd said. Every criticism, every demanded change, every subtle insult. Anna was right. They thought I was broken, defeated. They had no idea I was gathering evidence for their downfall. My phone buzzed. A text from Anna. Board meeting scheduled for Monday. Perfect timing. 4 more days. I just had to survive 4 more days. The weekend crawled by. I spent both days at home, perfecting our presentation for the board. Anna had given me access to financial records that painted a damning picture of corruption and theft. Combined with my evidence of stolen intellectual property, we had an airtight case. But I also couldn't shake the feeling of dread. What if they found out what we were planning? What if Hunter and my former teammates managed to discredit me before Monday's meeting? Sunday night, my phone rang. Jeffrey's number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Hello? Tiana, hey, I know this is weird, calling on a Sunday, but I wanted to check on you. After Friday's meeting, you seemed, I don't know, defeated? His fake concern made me sick. I'm fine, Jeffrey. Thanks for checking. Listen, I feel bad about how everything went down. We didn't mean to gang up on you, we're just worried, you know? I understand. Good, that's good. So we're okay? No hard feelings? He was fishing, trying to gauge whether I was planning something. Whether I was a threat they needed to worry about. No hard feelings, I lied smoothly. I'm just focused on doing better. Great. That's great to hear. See you Monday. Monday couldn't come fast enough. Monday morning arrived gray and drizzly. I dressed carefully. Professional but not too polished. Defeated but not completely broken. The performance of my life. At the office, my former teammates greeted me with renewed condescension. They thought they'd won, that Friday's meeting had crushed whatever fight I had left. Priscilla handed me a revised project timeline that would keep me working nights and weekends for a month. This should help you catch up to where we need to be, she said sweetly. Thanks, I said, accepting the papers with appropriately downcast eyes. Hunter emerged from his office around 10, looking smug. Tiana, how are we feeling today? Better. More focused. Excellent. I have good news. The board wants to recognize some of our top performers at this afternoon's quarterly meeting. Priscilla, Jeffrey, and Eric will be presenting their recent successes. Their recent successes, my stolen campaigns, now being celebrated as their achievements. That's wonderful, I said. They deserve the recognition. Hunter beamed. I knew you'd come around. This is the team spirit we need more of. If only he knew what was about to hit him in 3 hours. The board meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. in the main conference room. I spent my lunch break in the bathroom, steadying my nerves and rehearsing my opening statement. Anna found me there, washing my hands for the 5th time. Ready? She asked. Terrified, but ready. Remember, let them present first. Give them enough rope to hang themselves. Then we drop the evidence. At 1:45, I made my way to the conference room. The entire executive team was there. CEO Miranda Walsh, CFO Patricia Kim, and 3 other board members I recognized but had never spoken to. Hunter was setting up a projector, looking confident. My former teammates sat around the table, wearing their best professional smiles. "Tiana," Miranda said as I entered, "I didn't expect to see you here." "Anna from accounting asked me to attend," I said quietly. "Something about project documentation." Hunter frowned. "Anna? What does accounting need with project documentation?" "I'm sure we'll find out," I said, taking a seat in the back corner. At exactly 2 p.m., Anna entered carrying a thick folder and a laptop. The real show was about to begin. "Thank you all for coming," Miranda began. "Hunter has some exciting presentations about our recent campaign successes." Hunter stood up, clicking to his first slide. "I'm proud to present the outstanding work of our marketing team, particularly 3 individuals who've shown exceptional creativity and leadership." Jeffrey went first, presenting his Morrison Industries campaign. He walked through the strategy, the execution, the results. Every slide was based on my work, but his confidence was absolute. He owned it completely. "The client loved our fresh approach," he concluded. "It's exactly the kind of innovative thinking that sets Pinnacle apart." Polite applause around the table. Priscilla went next with her Henderson project redesign, the one she'd forced me to start over. She'd taken my 3 months of work, made cosmetic changes, and was now claiming credit for the entire concept. Eric presented last, discussing his social media strategy that had increased engagement by 40%. Another one of my campaigns, refined and rebranded as his innovation. When they finished, Miranda smiled. "Excellent work, all of you. These are exactly the kinds of results we want to see." Hunter beamed. "I couldn't be prouder of this team's growth and collaboration." That's when Anna stood up. "If I may, I have some additional documentation relevant to these presentations." The room went silent. Anna moved to the front, plugging her laptop into the projector. "What I'm about to show you represents 6 months of financial analysis and project tracking," she began, her voice steady and professional. Hunter shifted uncomfortably. "Anna, I'm not sure this is the appropriate forum." "Actually," Miranda interrupted, "I'd like to hear this. Please continue, Anna." Anna clicked to her first slide, a timeline showing the creation and development of the Morrison Industries campaign. Every email, every draft, every client meeting was documented with timestamps and authorship. As you can see, this campaign was conceived, developed, and executed by Tiana Benton over a period of 8 weeks. Jeffrey Harrison made no contributions to the initial strategy or creative development. Jeffrey's face went white. "That's not, I refined the concept." Anna clicked to the next slide, showing email threads where Jeffrey had requested Tiana's rough draft the morning of the presentation. This is the only documented interaction Jeffrey had with the project prior to presenting it as his own work. The room was dead quiet. Miranda leaned forward, studying the evidence. "Furthermore," Anna continued, clicking to financial records, "Hunter Williams received unauthorized consulting fees totaling $10,000 from Morrison Industries following this presentation." Hunter shot to his feet. "This is completely inappropriate." "Sit down," Miranda said coldly. "Continue, Anna." Anna methodically dismantled each presentation. The Henderson project, the social media strategy, even smaller campaigns I'd forgotten about. Everything was documented, time-stamped, and attributed to its real creator, me. In total, Anna said, clicking to a summary slide, Tiana Benton created intellectual property worth approximately $200,000 in billable client work over the past 6 months. None of this work was properly credited to her. Priscilla tried to speak up. "These are team efforts. We all contribute." Anna cut her off with another click. Expense reports appeared on screen. "These are Priscilla Martinez's submitted expenses over the same period. 14 dinners billed as client meetings that were actually personal meals. Total fraudulent charges, $3,400. Priscilla's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "Eric Patterson has been using company equipment and software for freelance projects, billing clients while using Pinnacle resources. Estimated theft of services, $5,000. Eric slumped in his chair, knowing he was caught. And Drew Rodriguez has been submitting false timesheets, claiming overtime hours for evening events that were actually social gatherings. Anna looked around the table. The pattern is clear. This group has systematically stolen intellectual property, committed expense fraud, and violated company policies while actively sabotaging the employee who created the work they've been taking credit for. Miranda's voice was ice cold. Tiana, please come forward. I walked to the front of the room on unsteady legs. 5 months of gaslighting and betrayal had prepared me for this moment, but I still felt overwhelmed. Is this documentation accurate? Miranda asked. Yes, I said quietly. Why didn't you report this sooner? I looked at Hunter, who was staring at the table. I was told I was being difficult, that I wasn't a team player. When I tried to speak up about the Morrison campaign, I was disciplined for not supporting my teammates. I see. Miranda turned to Hunter. And you were aware of these disciplinary issues? Hunter's voice was barely a whisper. I thought she was having performance problems. Based on what evidence? Silence. Anna clicked to her final slide, a recording app icon. They've been secretly recording Tiana for weeks, trying to capture her saying something they could use against her. This includes the lunch meeting last Thursday, where they attempted to bait her into making negative comments about management. The illegal recording was the final nail in their coffin. Miranda's expression showed pure disgust. Everyone except Tiana and Anna, please leave this room immediately. You'll all be hearing from HR and legal within the hour. As my former teammates filed out, none of them would look at me. Hunter was the last to leave, pausing at the door. Tiana, please go, Miranda said firmly. When the room was empty except for the three of us, Miranda sat back in her chair. Tiana, I owe you an enormous apology. This should never have happened. Thank you, I managed. Anna, this investigation work is exceptional. How long have you known about this? Anna glanced at me. I started noticing financial irregularities about 6 weeks ago, but I've been watching the workplace dynamics for months. What they did to Tiana was systematic harassment. Miranda nodded. What would you like to see happen, Tiana? The question caught me off guard. I just want to do my job, to get credit for my work. That's exactly what's going to happen. Effective immediately, you're promoted to senior marketing coordinator, Jeffrey's position since he clearly doesn't deserve it. You'll also be receiving back pay for all the campaigns that should have been credited to you. I felt tears starting to form. Really? Really? And Tiana? That Henderson project Priscilla tried to destroy? Present it to the client yourself next week. It's your work. You should get the recognition. For the first time in months, I smiled genuinely. I'd like that. The next few days were a whirlwind. Hunter was terminated immediately for financial misconduct. Jeffrey, Priscilla, Eric, and Drew were all fired for theft of intellectual property and harassment. Word spread through the office quickly. People who had ignored me for months were suddenly interested in being friendly. But I wasn't bitter. I understood now that they'd been following Hunter's lead, believing his version of events. Anna became my closest ally at work. She'd saved my career and probably my sanity by speaking up when no one else would. Why did you help me? I asked her over coffee. She smiled, because 30 years ago, I was you. Young, talented, and getting screwed over by people who thought I was an easy target. Nobody helped me then. I lost that job and it took years to recover. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just remember this when you see it happening to someone else someday. I promised I would. The Henderson presentation went perfectly. The client loved the campaign and signed a contract extension worth $500,000. This time, my name was on every document. Miranda personally congratulated me afterward. This is the kind of work that makes companies successful, Tiana. Don't let anyone ever convince you otherwise. 3 weeks later, I was settling into my new office, Jeffrey's old office, when my assistant knocked on the door. Tiana, there's someone here to see you. Says she's from Morrison Industries. I looked up, confused. Send her in. A woman in her 40s entered, wearing a sharp business suit and a warm smile. Tiana Benton? I'm Susan Crane, VP of Marketing at Morrison Industries. I wanted to meet the person who actually created our campaign. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry? We know Jeffrey Harrison wasn't the real creator. our account manager did some digging after hearing rumors about changes at your company. Your fingerprints are all over that campaign. The messaging, the strategy, the execution. It's brilliant work." "Thank you," I said, still processing. "I have a proposition. We're launching a new product line next year, and we want the real talent behind our success to handle it. Would you consider taking on the project as an independent consultant? The budget is substantial." She slid a folder across my desk. Inside was a contract offer that made my eyes widen. "This is very generous." Good work deserves good compensation. We learned that lesson the hard way. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. I'd be honored. 6 months later, I was featured in Marketing Weekly magazine as one of the year's rising stars. The article detailed my work with Morrison Industries and 2 other major clients I'd landed. The picture showed me in my office, confident and smiling, so different from the broken person who'd almost quit 6 months earlier. I kept the magazine on my desk as a reminder. Anna stopped by that afternoon, grinning. "Saw the article, you're famous now." "Hardly, but it feels good to get recognition for my actual work." "Any regrets about how everything went down?" I considered the question. Jeffrey had moved back to his hometown, struggling to find work after word spread about the plagiarism. Priscilla was working retail while fighting the fraud charges. Eric and Drew had found jobs, but at much lower salaries. Hunter was facing criminal charges for the Morrison kickbacks. "No regrets," I said finally. "They made their choices. They have to live with the consequences." Anna nodded approvingly. "That's the right attitude. Never apologize for standing up for yourself." As she left, I turned back to my computer, working on a proposal for a new client. Real work with my name on it, that would be credited properly from start to finish. It felt amazing. That evening, I was packing up to leave when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Saw your article. Proud of you. A friend." I stared at the screen, wondering if it was Anna using a different phone, or maybe Susan from Morrison Industries. Then I realized it didn't matter who it was. For months, I'd felt completely alone, convinced that no one saw what was happening to me. But the truth was, people had been watching. People had cared. They'd just been waiting for the right moment to help. I thought back to that lunch 6 months ago, when everything had seemed hopeless, when that anonymous text had saved me from walking into their trap. "Don't react. They're recording you." Those 6 words had changed everything. They'd given me the strength to stay calm when I wanted to explode, the wisdom to wait when I wanted to fight, and the patience to build a case instead of just screaming about injustice. I walked out of the office that night, knowing I'd never be the same person who'd sat at that lunch table, trembling with fear and confusion. I'd learned that silence could be strength, that patience could be powerful, and that sometimes the best revenge is simply being too good to ignore. My phone buzzed one more time. "Dinner tomorrow? I know a place where they don't record conversations. Anna." I smiled and typed back, "Perfect. I'll buy. I owe you everything." The elevator doors closed, and I headed home, finally free.